At the end of the previous lecture, we discussed that it would be much easier if we could give HTML elements meaningful names and then use those names in CSS. Well, that's exactly that we are going to learn in this lecture. We will explore IDs and classes, two of the most commonly used selectors in CSS. By end of this lesson, you'll know when to use each one and why professional developers almost always prefer classes. The problem with long selectors. We wanted to style only the paragraph inside the header. We wrote a selector like this, like article, header, and paragraph. Technically, this works, but there is a problem. The selector depends completely on the HTML structure. If we later move the paragraphs somewhere else or change the HTML layout, the selector may stop working. In other words, our CSS becomes tightly connected to our HTML structure, and that's something we generally want to avoid. So instead of depending on where an element is located, we can simply give it a name. Inside our HTML, let's look at the paragraph containing the author information. So here it is. Now we'll add we'll add an ID now this paragraph has an unique identity called author. So back in our CSS, we can select it using an hash symbol. Giving the ID name and giving the font style as italic. So when we comment this and if we refresh, we save the page, only this will be italic. If you want to take that, we can now do the same exact thing as the previous one. Give a paragraph here and type something randomly. As you can see, it is not italic, only this part becomes the italic. So remove this, I'm just commenting it. So as we are selecting this paragraph, let's also make the font a little smaller by using font size to 18 pixel. As you can see, the font changes. Every other paragraph remains exactly the same. This is much cleaner than writing long descendant selectors. So let's go for another example for ID selectors. Let's also name the copyright paragraph here, which is in the footer. So go to that, locate the paragraph here and give an ID here. Copyright. Now go to your CSS page, comment this. As you can see, the changes. Now using hash, using the hash selector, give the ID name, then give the font size 16 pixels. Again, only this paragraph changes. This determines how ID uniquely identifies single element. Now there is an important rule. Each ID must be unique. This means this is perfectly valid, but it only gives for the only a specific element only. It cannot be give multiple times and cannot be used multiple times. So what if we want to style multiple elements the same way? That's where classes come in. Suppose we want to style all the three author names here. Instead of using IDs, we'll use a class. So go to that. Here we want to give a class selector, and I'm giving related author. I'm just copying this and giving it to the remaining two also. Now back to the CSS, we use a period instead of hash. For selecting an ID selector, we use hash. For selecting in class selector, we use dot related author, and I'm giving the font size of 18 pixels and font weight. This is nothing but determining the boldness of the word. There are so many, we would use them later, but for now we use just bold. As you can see, the text changes. All the three author names become bold and slightly smaller. That's the power of classes. One selector can style as many elements as you want. Now you probably notice that our class name contains two words. Instead of writing related author, I just gave an related, a small dash, and then author. We can also write underscore. Using hyphens between words is the standard naming convention in CSS. Professional developers almost always use this style. So you may also notice something interesting. These author paragraphs are now being selected multiple times. The selected paragraph, related authors, and they are also inherited styles from the earlier rules. Does that create a conflict? Actually no. All applicable CSS rules works together. CSS has its own system for deciding which style when multiple rules target the same element. We'll learn that important concept later when we study specifically about inheritance. I want you to remove the bullet points only for this related list. For example, if I do an ordered list, and the list style be none, as well as unordered list, and the unordered list got removed their bullet points. We don't need that. We just want only the unordered list. Only this related post only. Pause this video, and once you're done, come back. Okay, let's solve it together. Inside the HTML, under the unordered list, which is here, create a class related. Save it. Now come back to CSS file, select the class selector, use the list style to none. When you refresh this, only the related post got their bullet points removed. The other list remains unchanged, exactly what we wanted. So now there's a common question. There is only one related post list. So why don't we simply use an ID? The answer is flexibility. Imagine 6 months from now, your website grows. You decide to add another related post section somewhere else. If you had used an ID, you have to go back and change both your HTML and CSS. With a class, nothing needs to change. You simply reuse the same class on the new list. That's why professional developers almost always prefer classes, even when there is only one element. Classes make your code easier to extend in the future. So let's continue in the next session.